Hey, this is John Carlos, and I am very excited to be back reviewing another 6-scale figure for you. This time, it is the Hot Toys Spider-Gwen figure from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And if you like what you see here, be sure to like this video and smash that subscribe button. Alright, here's a look at the figure right outside the box. One thing that I find interesting, at least for my particular figure, is that the legs at the knee are pointed inward, so that her legs kind of click outward a bit. So I'm going to have to kind of rotate the knees out a bit and then slide the costume over so that the knees are now kind of clicking the right direction. Never had to do that with a Hot Toys figure before, so that's a little interesting, but yeah, much better. Detailing on this is nice as far as the texture of the outfit, because this is a animated movie, but they're translating it into, you know, real life 3 dimensions. So they have, you know, some nice texturing that is present when you look, you know, at the costumes in the movie. There is patterns within the simplicity of the black and white. And we'll get to the head sculpt in a bit and see how cartoony that is. But the texture on this looks good. I like the pink coloring on this. Really simple. But yeah, the shoes look good. Nice ankle joint articulation. And there's not anything to limit that. In fact, the wraps of her ballet shoes are just painted on, which one could argue might be kind of cheap, but also I think that's a little detail that would get really annoying if these were real straps and them like either ripping or breaking or having to retie them. So I'm glad they're painted on. The first accessory I want to focus on is the unmasked head, which I think Hot Toys has done an excellent job of bringing into the real world from the you know, animated world of the movie. The movie itself is 3D animated with 2D detailing on it, and I think they've done a great job capturing the shape of her head. Her hair looks excellent, like all the details of that hair look excellent, but the little shaved side looks great. Also some nice shading on her cheeks. There is some freckling on the cheeks. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but her eyes look good. The lips are well done. Some nice paint, really clean, really good looking. This absolutely looks like the Gwen Stacy of the movie. Now the figure comes with all these alternate hands, including the wide spread apart finger hands. I like that one a lot. We have 2 sets of thwippy hands. We've got the basic thwip hands, but then we also have another pair that have the web shooter attached to them, so you can attach the actual string of web to that little hole. We also have some grip hands here, a wider grip, a tighter grip. I think this one's used for gripping the book, and this very tight grip with a little hole going right through the middle there. We've also got all these webs, including the shorter webs with the little blunt ends for attack. We've got the longer ones here in the middle that attach to this webbing attachment. And then we've got this longer one here that can be gripped by the figure. And also, I just showed you that shorter hand with the little holes in it. This can plug into it, so she's kind of gripping a wound string of webs. Here is her tiny phone, which has a photo of her and Miles on the screen. We also have her compact mirror. It is very tiny. We also get an extra set of wrist pegs, a loose mask for her to grip. If you want to have her unmasked, you can have her gripping this mask. It's just a light little fabric. It feels kind of like the fabric that the suit is made of, with the harder eyes. This is the neck piece. When you're using the unmasked head, this is the hood hanging down over her neck and back of her shoulders. And we have her physics book, which actually has little, tiny pages of print in it. So that's neat. Here are the pieces of the figure stand, including the C-clamp that tightens by screw along this pole, which normally the pole is black, but this time it is white. I do like the artwork on the figure stand quite a bit. I think it's really snazzy. I like the font of Gwen Stacy. And we also have this figure stand that goes to SpiderHam that has a little drippy puddle and a drippy spot right where his hands would drip onto. Speaking of SpiderHam, Here is the best accessory, Peter Porker himself, Spider-Ham. This sculpt is great. It is perfect. It is straight out of the movie, and there's some excellent details in this. But yeah, the sculpt is outstanding. But the webbing is sculpted into the figure. The black outline of his eyes and nostrils are raised. The spider on his chest is raised. So there's some nice surface detail to the red sections of this as far as the webbing goes. The paint on it's really, really clean. Every single spot of it is just perfectly painted. I love the curly Q-tail. He does not stand on his own, so he absolutely needs the figure stand. He cannot stand. But yeah, that looks really, really great with the little wet drips there. I really dig how that looks. The figure also comes with 3 additional sets of eyes. They look like this, this, and this. And this is what they look like when there's no eyes in there. There's just a little magnetic piece in the back. Here's a close-up look of her with the unmasked head on and the way the hood lays on the back. One thing that's interesting about this figure that I hadn't noticed till right now, at least the way mine comes out of the box, is like the legs, the elbows are not lined up in the direction they should be with her costume, so I'm going to have to rotate the arm and then twist the costume back on this. There we go, that's a little better. I am going to be honest with you guys though, the wrist pegs on this figure are really little, and the holes are really tight. And this is, I mean, it's doable, but this is the most difficulty I've had just getting hands to go on and off a wrist peg with a Hot Toys figure in a long while. If any of you out there are getting this figure, I definitely recommend using a hairdryer to heat up and loosen the holes on the hands in order to get the hands onto the wrist pegs with a little less muss and a little less fuss. But here's the figure on the stand with the webbing, and I gotta say, I am curious over time how these longer ones are going to hold up. See how much it wobbles just when I barely move it a little bit? I have to imagine over the course of probably a few days, definitely a few weeks, if you leave it with this, it will droop, I think. Now, one little thing that might be a problem with this figure is the fact that so much of the costume bunches when you put her in more dynamic, bendy positions. I mean, as posable as this figure is, I'm probably going to pose it in my collection in a less dynamic pose because I don't think these kind of wrinkling and bunchings are good for the figure in the long term. It's also worth pointing out that the head on this figure is attached to the hood, so it kind of limits how much you can turn the head left or right, or up or down because of the way the sculpted hood rests on the shoulders. Lastly, this figure also comes with a diorama, not just for Gwen Stacy, but also its own little backdrop for Spider-Ham with these little plastic plug-in pieces that go on at the edges there. There's these little sections with little biff bang pows that like get plugged into the slots on the backdrop itself. One little bummer for me is that in the packaging, this little thing was bent. Even when this is folded in half, the length of this is the length of that. So there was room for it. It wasn't meant to be bent. Not the worst thing, but that crease does bug me. This is meant to be folded at the bottom here. These little tabs, you peel the little thing off and they're sticky, but I'm not sure if I'm going to display it with this or not yet, so I have not folded this over with the adhesive strip yet. I don't usually use the cardboard backdrops that Hot Toys has included for figures in the past, but I can't deny that the colors and the design of this are really dynamic, and I might be using them. I do think that Gwen and Spider-Ham both look pretty cool with their little backdrops. I dig it. And I dig this. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is not just one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made, not just one of the best superhero movies ever made, but one of the best movies ever made in the last several years. I think it's outstanding, and as a fan, I am very satisfied with what they've done here. Also, one little thing, I like that the edges of the backdrop fit the shape of the figure stand. That's great, follows the lines. This looks awesome. I friggin' dig it. I'm very, very satisfied with Hot Toys' attempt to transfer the look from the movie into three-dimensional figure form. I love it. That's my review. I love it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and let me know in the comments below what you think of this figure. And be sure to click subscribe and all that crap. Okay, thanks, bye.